Welcome to This On, Season 6, Episode 29, where we watch Singles Inferno, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz, and I got all the postcards.
This is Brian, and when you like a podcast, even when they're clumsy, they're cute.
This is Noah, and this feels like a Michigan show.
I'm Harrison Hoffman, and I'm in an Inferno.
I'm Annabeth, and I would describe myself with two words, cute and sexy.
I'm Max, and everybody stole my quip except for one that is slightly racist, so I'm going to skip it.
Oh.
You gotta be stealing quips.
Many good one-liners. I had several quips I'm choosing from.
Oh, yeah.
All right, if this is your first time listening, we watch a different reality show each week, figuring out if it's good or bad. And before we get into this week's show, last week we watched what the hell is that? Awesomeness TV's Next Influencer. And on Twitter, we had a poll to figure out if you thought it was good or bad. And the audience thought it was a bottom third show, which shouldn't be surprised to anyone that listens to the pod or watched it. So if you want to tell us what you thought about this week's show, go to Twitter @WhoPutThisOn. You can vote in our poll. Now, what show did we watch this week?
This week, we watched Singles Inferno on Netflix. Stranded and ready to mingle, flirty singles search for love on a deserted island they can only escape as couples for romantic date nights in paradise. That's it. It's not very descriptive or maybe grammatically easy to understand. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go to the Google.
We don't need another one. We'll just tell you what it is. It's not
no, let me do one more because I like the little more internet corner you get here. This is the Google Smart Card. The Google Smart Card.
Let him do his job.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Let me do my job. The show follows a group of Korean singles stranded on the deserted island Inferno of Sesongbong Ongjin.
Okay.
So that was it? That's what we're waiting for?
There you have it.
Yeah. Oh no, they're on Sesongbong Ongjin. I mean, I was curious where it was.
I thought it was just called Inferno. So they lied to us.
Inferno Island.
Inferno, yeah. So nine hot Koreans are on this island, and they're trying to, copulate, mate.
Yeah, and they're doing it over 9 hot days.
9 days is not a very long time.
It's long enough.
Also, they all look Korean. Unclear if they're nationally Korean.
Well, there was the question of one person,
But they all had Korean names. So why would I not assume they're all Korean?
This is going to go down a weird path, but anyway.
So let's get into what happens in the show, I guess, at this point. They introduce 9 Koreans as they walk into the beach. They're all real hot, physically and in the real world. They're also hot. It's 35 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, which
That's 95 freedom units.
Yeah, the freedom units.
The freedom units are 95 degrees. Yeah. The freedoms. And then they have to they're on this island and they have to make dinner. So they kind of go in and talk about each other for a bit. They do some confessionals. And they come out and they make dinner. They get water, blah, blah, blah. Then after that, they go back to their rooms and they talk about each other again. Then they give a postcard to they think is the hottest, or they
anonymous
like the most.
Love letters, to be clear.
Love letters. Okay, Max, thank you. And then they open their own mailbox to see how many postcards they got, and then they cliffhangered it as a normal Netflix thing. And that's what happens this episode.
Don't worry, we'll spoil the cliffhanger.
Yeah, I was saying, did anyone else watch the first minute?
Obviously, you gotta watch the first minute.
Yeah.
I'm not giving Netflix the satisfaction of making me watch a whole other episode. No.
You think the robot is you versus Brian? That's how they think?
Yes.
Well, I mean, what they want you to do is just binge the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they want you to get inside the Inferno.
Get inside the Inferno. Yeah, I mean, as we get into the minutia here, let's just talk about these intros. These intros were real long. A lot of slow shots. A lot of just like watching people walk down some steps.
Here's one thing I want to clarify about the introduction right off the bat. Were the people allowed to talk to each other, or was it just super awkward, like on purpose, or?
I think it was
I
just
don't know. I have so many questions.
I mean, they were talking to each other when they sat down on the couch.
Very barely. The only thing they would talk to each other about is like, oh, look, there's another person coming. But other than that, they're just sitting around in silence.
No, that's not true. They'd also say it's really hot.
They did say that. They did say that.
It was also a huge deal when that one guy said his name. And I was like, oh man, I guess like they haven't been saying their names when they come down. It's just been totally quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if it's a cultural thing that they were like being shy or if the producers said like, hey, don't talk as people come in,
Seems
as
like
they
a,
slowly walk down.
It seems like a mix of both. Like one thing the Netflix description of the show doesn't really capture is actually the tension of the dating show. So the tension is you're not allowed to reveal your profession or age until you go to Paradise, which turns out to be the actual name of a hotel, which is just like a sideswipe.
Was it? I thought
yeah.
it was just a pseudonym.
No, like they say, oh, until they go to Paradise, and it's literally Paradise Hotel in Ongen. Like, I was like, oh shit. But yeah, that's the tension, that you can't know their job or their age until you feel the fuzzies for them.
There's something so creepy about not revealing the ages. I don't know why that's part of it. That seems so weird to me.
Well, why do you feel it's creepy? Like everybody has to be like legal for this, and like it's honestly, I think it just like takes a little bit out of the equation. It's just like, hey, focus on this versus like something that could just be artificial and like, okay, next.
Kind of, but it's like, I mean, the age also sort of correlates with like what life stage you're in. Like, I have no idea how old these people are. It seems like some could be in college. Like, I don't know. They could be any age.
I can clear up what life stage they're in. Reality TV show phase.
Dating
That's all you need to know.
I mean, yeah, but Brian, so you're saying barely legal, good to go.
We already had like plenty of people that on like this influencer show that were like 18, 19, 20. Like there have been other dating shows where they were extremely young. Like I don't really care as long as like they're not doing something illegal.
It's not the fact. Yeah. We're saying the same thing. It's like, it's not the fact that if they're 18, is it 18 and 30-year-olds?
Yeah,
Like,
and it makes it weird to explicitly say you can't tell them your age. That makes it so much weirder than like not having it be like, you know.
The thing is, I can tell you that age discrepancy is not going to be there.
I don't know.
What if it is?
Yeah.
The way that they've set it up makes me think that it is. Because otherwise they would tell us all their ages are like between 18 and 21 or whatever. But I think we're going to find out one of these people's like 30.
I think these guys are all 20 to 30, which is like, not ideal, but not super scandalous of a range.
Yeah, I think
pretty scandalous, but not super scandalous.
Oversized t-shirt guy, he's like 20, and then suit guy's like 29.
That one,
That's your
the
age
first woman who came in looked so young. The really pale woman, she looks extremely young.
Oh yeah,
she might be with the oversized shirt guy.
Right, but I think you get like a bell curve thing here, right? Like most people going to be between 20 and 30, but you're going to get the outliers that causes the like reason to watch. And it's like, oh my God, the 32-year-old just went to the hotel with the 18-year-old. And like,
wait, so is it, I guess maybe I missed this part. When they go to Paradise, are they allowed to say those things or do we not know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're allowed to talk about anything at Paradise.
Okay.
So you can look up all their ages.
They bring
and
that
stuff.
back to the island.
I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it once you're back on the island. Yeah,
They
so
don't
the other
really
thing,
tell us what happens after the Paradise stage. Like you go back to the island, but what then?
Yeah. So they clarify that you go to Paradise for one day. So presumably episode 2, some people will decide to go to paradise together. And then some people will come back day 3, but other people might go to paradise. Unclear. But they have 9 days on this show. So it's like a 2-week thing. This is also like a classic Netflix reality show where they're like, okay, well, you can't just have a normal dating show. There's got to be something like, we have to remove some sort of sense from you. And they removed the sense of like your age and occupation this time.
Well, and they pretend that it's like a survival show, which is so funny. Like having watched like, you know, obviously all these other shows we've seen where people are literally trying to survive in the wilderness, and they're like, "We're gonna die out here," and there's like fresh ingredients and a full kitchen with running water. Like things seem pretty cool.
Yeah, and they have like bathrooms. Like,
but that one
those were
girl
good-looking
says she
bathrooms.
won't use it because it's too gross.
You know, what's she gonna do? She's gonna use it.
I mean, I think the big question is like, what were they told? Right? Like, were they told you're going to be on an island and live the island life? Or it's like, no, you're going to get into this and ready to ham it up. Very unclear.
I mean, based on like all the clothing they brought, it seems like they thought they were going to some sort of Love Island situation.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Max, can you get that Chanel shirt? I think you'd look hot in that.
Thanks. I'll keep it in consideration.
Yeah, this hot outfit. Or the oversized shirt.
Some great looks on the show.
There is also a big piece of the show we have not mentioned yet, which is yet another show with an in-show podcast.
Oh, yeah, the podcast.
Yeah.
This is what our
we
3rd show with the podcast?
We did Ainori Love Wagon. We did possibly 1 or 2 Terrace Houses. I forget. Yeah, Noah says 2. Yeah. These guys not super memorable, but don't necessarily detract from the show. But I love a good in-show podcast. Also, some real weird comments. Like they said, this doesn't seem like your normal Korean dating show. Feels like a Michigan show. Doesn't it have a Michigan vibe? Like, what the hell is a Michigan show?
Yeah.
I was really hoping someone knew the context of that because that was just such a good line.
What do Koreans think about Michigan? How did Michigan get this reputation?
I have no idea. Absolutely none. Is this where The Bachelor takes place? Are they in Michigan?
No, they're like in California.
Yeah, nothing really happens in Michigan.
No.
Is there any shows set in Michigan that they're watching? No.
The dating
the
game?
main crossover I can think of is like the automotive industry. That's kind of it. It's strong in both places. I don't know, man.
Extremely weird.
It's weird. If you know, tweet at us. I'd hope it's on. I'd love to know.
There's a pretty deep Reddit thread on this topic, so I'm going to go traverse the comments.
Take it away, Noah. I need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audience needs to know. Yeah, the podcast I thought I didn't particularly like this time around. Like they didn't really add anything to this at all.
I think it might just be the first episode. I think that it's going to be more engaging the later episodes because like half this episode was just intros of people.
Well, that's their fault for taking 30 minutes to intro these people. Like it took so long.
It's episode 1. It
Yeah,
always happens.
it doesn't need to though.
It doesn't need to. There are some things do it better than others. Most people just phone it in, and we have to accept that.
I mean, they really tried here though. They were like, "Let me get this banging music going. Let me get these slow-mo shots." And it's just like,
No.
we just gotta move on.
I can tell you they didn't try at all because there would have been more shots going down. And
There'd be more shots.
yeah,
Like pose. Let me get the right wind. You know
exactly.
But it's just like them walking down in a slow-mo shot. That's like the only thing that we see. It's take too long.
Yeah, so the internet, basically it's the most white state that the podcast host could think of because generally a lot of Korean shows or just the culture is very conservative. Like, don't put out, don't be a hoe. I'm kind of reading the Reddit thing. Where it's like, this show seems like it's a little more bang bang giddy up. And so it's just more of like, hey, this is like a typical American show, Michigan being so typically white in America.
So Michigan is the typical American state? Is that what they're trying to say?
it doesn't have that cultural cachet. It's just like a random thing that she picked out there and be like, yeah, that's Michigan.
So this
I'd
is
buy that.
confirmation. Seems speculative, but sure.
Yeah, there's no truth on here, but like people are like nodding their heads along on the front, like, yeah, it seems valid.
So this is a scandalous Korean dating show. Because you got to couple up day 2, or you're stuck in Inferno.
That's
And-
when all the water's going to run out.
I
Yeah.
feel like there's some mechanics we're missing that maybe get introduced later because I wonder like how you have to officially couple up to get to leave. I wonder if the postcards happen every night. Like, is there something there? I don't
Hmm.
know.
I bet you they have to make out first.
Maybe.
You got to make out to go to paradise.
I thought there was going to be some kind of special thing with the ice. So part of the show, they like get these maps and they like get to explore the island. One part of the island is this like ice. There's like a little snowflake on that map, and then it's like the ice cafe. I thought there was going to be like something like date related about the ice cafe, but it's just like on top of the mountain they can get ice water.
It even looked like a cute little date spot with like 2 chairs and a little pagoda, I guess. No, it's just where you get ice.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be where you go take a date, Day 1 seemed a lot more focused on like making dinner, it seemed.
Yeah.
But it was unclear, like, did they show up in the morning? And then there was a bunch of time we didn't see?
Well,
they
they
did
showed
go to
up
their-
and it was hot. That's all we know.
Yeah, they went to their rooms for a while. We don't know how long that lasted.
I think it took a really long time, like in person, for every person to come out because, like, the way they have it, like, the people have to walk down this like mountain and then like sit in the sand pit with everybody else and like wait for the next person. I bet that took at least an hour. That looked like it was so long.
At least.
That took way more than an hour.
It was terrible.
Noah says 3 for some reason.
3 hours.
He's not.
Yeah. I think it's a hell of a long time. Like,
Yeah.
they probably like walked on first. It's like, no. You couldn't get it right. Go back. Like,
Yeah,
I guess because it's like 9 people. If everybody got like at least 15 minutes, we are pushing over 2 hours. So that must have
Right.
been brutal. And they
Nine-
get to talk to each other in the sand pit somehow.
like 9 people, 20 minutes a person. 3 hours. Like, easy.
Yeah. It also looks like there's 8 episodes of this thing, so it's roughly an episode per day, which explains probably why they spent 20, 30 minutes on the intros here, which is my personal opinion too long.
Did any of the intros really stand out to you guys? Any fun moments? I'm not sure if we should go through everybody.
People really like working out. It's everybody's favorite hobby.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think the average workout time is for everybody? Like, I'm going 3 hours.
This is the average? I mean, that might be the max.
No, I think it's the average.
The average
Some of
is
these people
probably
are
like an
ripped.
hour.
Dude, I'm looking through like all. So I found an article with like all their ages and stuff like that. And I'm
Whoa.
looking at this and
Spoiler!
You're cheating. You can't cheat like that.
but I'm looking at it. I'm like, yep, 3 hours minimum. Like someone were saying like, yeah, at least like 2 hours. Like, come on.
I think 2 hours is like I bet you Dwayne Johnson's barely in the gym for 3 hours.
I think
Like 3 hours is too much. Every day? Like, 3 hours, 3 days a week, maybe?
Right,
I-
but what if you have like 2 sessions where you have like a morning sesh and then like, an evening sesh?
okay.
Yeah, no, it's probably an hour to 1 hour and a half or 3 hour, like 3 1 hours. It depends, right? Like if they see this as their job, not unreasonable.
Yeah,
if it's really a side thing,
I bet a ton of these people are like models and influencers, and it is part of their job. So totally makes
Spoiler
sense.
alert, they are. I'm
No,
just going to send you one
Brian!
picture.
Brian, you can't spoil this. I'm watching
You're
all of
killing
it.
me, Brian.
Oh,
they are
man.
all
I'm just going to send
influencers.
this and
That's-
to the who put this on.
Yeah, you
It is just a picture, and you can go and see how.
We'll include it in the description for you to check out
Oh.
or not check out.
That one guy that
Is
you
this-
sent? Yeah, he has a bunch of pictures of him in underwear on like their Reddit and Instagram. Yeah.
Straight up, I'm pretty sure
So-
that's like 2% body fat.
Unhealthy amounts of body fat, for
Yeah.
sure.
I
So
like
is
how
this show
that-
actually Korea's next influencer?
I bet you it makes more of an influencer than the last week's show for sure.
But otherwise, I'm not going to spoil data. I'm not going to spoil like info on agents' professions. But
Yeah, that is an interesting part you bring up. Is like not bringing professions, like definitely sets me up to like them more. Like if it was like this dude's a social media influencer, I'm like, okay, you can go fuck off because I don't care. But now that I don't know what he does, like,
Now you
He
can
was
fall in love with him.
yeah, if it was a TikTok star, like is that chef guy? Is he a TikTok star? Like, what are we looking at here? Is this a continuation of influencer month? Like, what are we looking at?
I mean, most of these reality shows kind of are just continuation of influencer month anyway. Like that's how you find the people for the show.
I mean, people do
Well, I guess like the
Like-
result of the signups.
sign up for these things. Like, I don't think people like reach out to influencers and be like, "Hey, you want to be on this reality show?" Maybe I'm wrong.
I think they do, but not in the way you're thinking. Like, they could slide into the DMs, but because these influencers are all represented by talent agencies, I think it goes through that route.
Yeah, I could see that. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Just like how people get on the challenge. I'm sure that's how that happens too.
Totally.
All right. So, should we talk about this cooking sesh?
I want to talk about a couple intro moments though.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Max was like, you guys take it in. I didn't take any notes.
Okay. The first guy, first off, I'm going to butcher all these names. Apologies in advance. The first guy, his name is Kim Hyung Jong. So they first show him. He's got kind of a pretty boy face, and the hosts are like, "Oh, whatever," or the podcast is like, "Oh, whatever." Then they reveal this dude is fucking ripped, and they're like, "Oh shit, okay." That one was fine. The first girl we meet is Shinji-an. So the general formula is, they walk down these stairs, then cut to a video. They say, "Hey, my name is blah. My hobby is blah, and this is what I find charming about myself." Her list of things that make her a charming person are her positive vibes, her empathy, and her hands.
And then she kind of displays her hand.
Yeah, like a hand model. I thought that was great.
And everyone's hobby was like going to the gym or boxing. Like boxing came up in multiple videos.
There was one woman who like does every sport there's ever been.
She was listing them, and yeah, it was like a good 20 seconds. It was impressive. They had little like clips of her doing like judo and shit. Let's see. Was there anything else?
I liked the guy with the dimple. He was like, "What makes me charming to women is my dimple."
Women love that dimple.
I also was like, they use the word charm in a way that I feel like the word in Korean has a much more like much more texture to it. Because they kept saying like, "Here's like my charm. They're so charming." I felt like we were missing a lot.
Yeah, the translation might not be great.
Speaking of language and translation, purely out of curiosity, I flipped on the English audio, and they did something interesting. They did it kind of like newscast style, where you hear the original audio in the background, but you have sort of the dub on top of it. It was because we've seen other Netflix reality shows where they just straight up paste new audio on top.
Oh yeah,
That seems like a much better format to do that.
I don't know. I feel like it can be kind of distracting here, the old language. But I don't know.
It's muted a little bit, but it seemed fine. You get more of the original feel, I guess.
So I watched it all with the English language track on top. I thought it was pretty cool because I was able to get a bit of their emotion in the Korean. Yet I just didn't feel like watching at this point of the day like a full-on subtitle show. It was done very well.
Monday at 5 p.m. It's an exhausting day.
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
It's
I gotta flip
exhausting.
it. Very rare for me to flip it, but I did.
Very, gotta watch those dubs. One thing that I did have about the intros, I think it was Song Jia. I think that was her name. She came on and said like, "Hey, what attracts me is like they're handsome. They gotta be handsome, Then they got to make money. They got to make money. They got to make a lot of money. Then they got to be older than me. I'm like, oh man, what a type A.
They gotta have personality.
Just like she looked like she was going to be like a handful. But then as the episode went on, she's like doing all this work. She's like cleaning the dishes. She's up with the dinner. She seemed very personable. But for a while, she seemed like she was going to be like a grade A, like bitch or a Karen or something. And she did not turn out that way at all, which was very surprising to me.
Is there a term for like Korean Karen? Is it just Korean Karen?
Yeah. I don't know. We're an American show. I don't know. Tweet at us if you know.
Michigan Karen?
It was also kind of interesting because like all the Korean names, apparently they put the last name first and then the first name. So when they were introing all these people, I was like, okay, so this guy's Ken. But then they kept calling him by his last name, and I was like, wait. And then I had to look it up. So that's why everyone goes by, their last, the second name they give.
So like, the most well-known Koreans to Americans are like Kim Jong-un, Kim Il-sung. Kim is the last name. Ban Ki-moon, they call him Mr. Ban in the New York Times and stuff. So yeah.
There you go. Learn something on the podcast.
Same thing with like Xi Jinping.
To kind of shift back to the intros, I really hated Choi Si-hun's prep school outfit.
Dude.
The sweater vest.
That dude could not trust himself for his life.
He just stepped out of his K-pop boy bands.
He took the sweater vest off, though.
He did, and then put on a box.
He definitely was wearing a very oversized shirt.
That's probably better for the heat, to be fair, but then you also have Gia going with Chanel shirts. So I don't know which is going to be better.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely looked the youngest, too. And then he really liked Jiha. Jiha, spoilers for the first 5 seconds of the next episode. Jiha got 3 notes in her thing.
Song Jia?
Yeah. Well, I'm just using the first name. Noah's just typing in the chat laughing at himself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Noah, I was hearing that too.
Jiha.
Noah says...
That's what I was trying to say.
Gia.
Whatever. Anyway.
Cooking time.
Cooking time. Yeah, there's nothing really to go between that and the cooking. They definitely look like they made a really good meal. Like, I don't know how they did it. They had like onions and rice and like some sort of bok choy, it looked like.
Cabbage.
Dude,
Just
they made gochujang sauce.
No, they did not make gochujang. They had it. They had
I thought they said that it was homemade gochujang.
I mean, maybe it was, but it was in a little like clay container.
What is a gochujang?
It's red pepper paste. It's like the spice you probably are familiar with. Yeah, well, they usually add some honey to the red pepper to like get the sweetness going. But if you think of like the spice you eat when it's like in your tongue, if you think of like Korean food, it's probably that.
So, Max, can you tell me what this meal consisted of?
Well, first off, I just want to say I have like 3 separate notes here. Like, yo, this food looks great. Anyway, there was fried rice. There was some dish I've never heard of called doenjang soup, I believe. There was bear rice. There was some sort of veggie. Anybody else get anything in there? It seems like it covered it.
Did bear rice have claws?
No, like plain rice.
Yeah, I know what you meant. It just took me a second.
I was so surprised. Like, I don't know about y'all. I make rice at home. I mean, most of the times it comes out fine, but not always. They have this cauldron. Somehow the rice comes out okay. I am like flabbergasted how the rice comes out.
They had no rice maker. They had to do it by hand on this like outdoor barbecue type thing. Very impressive.
Yeah,
it's like a wood-fired thing. Yeah, it was crazy.
No, I
One
have
of
a
the
question.
guys says, "Oh, go ahead."
Do you ever wash the rice, Noah?
Oh, you have to. Yeah.
Okay. That was gonna be like step one of like what their difference is going to be.
Wait, when it's in the rice cooker, you have to watch it
Wash it.
Wash.
or wash it? I think you said watch it, like physically.
You gotta get
with
all
your
the
eyes.
white stuff off of it. Then once the water's clear, put it in the rice maker.
Okay, there you go. Tip 1 for making your own rice. They also had like an outdoor. It was weird. They had like this barbecue thing. Then they had this weird makeshift fire pit with like bricks that had like a walk on it that looked like it was about to fall off. I didn't understand why there were two different things, and I don't know, it was very. I thought it was weird. No one.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really go into much detail, but they had these like two very big pots. One seems like it was just boiling water. One's, if I have to assume, it's made for rice cooking, because how else do they get the rice to actually come out well? And then the other is just this, it's like a wok on top of like a wood fire. That seems to be their setup, along with a very small sink.
So, do we think that they get more food tomorrow, or have they blown all their rice for the week on this first meal?
I think they get more food tomorrow, but I would love
Where they get
not
like
to.
one thing of rice at the beginning.
I would love for that though. That would be great.
So you guys just
That would
work
rule.
themselves.
Harrison was very concerned when that girl was scooping out the rice. He was like, "You gotta save some for tomorrow."
Well, it was so ominous because they made a whole thing of how much rice for how many people, how many cups should I do? And then it seemed like the math said that they should do maybe like 4 or 5 cups. And then she's scooping out 10 cups, and she's gonna get blamed tomorrow when they don't have any more rice. Watch it happen.
They definitely made a thing of like how much rice she's putting into this bowl, where they're like, oh, the rice isn't going to come out good, and this is going to be a thing, and nothing happens. It's like the rice comes out
Totally
good.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, it could be something where like a Korean would notice something weird about it that we wouldn't notice. Like, I don't know how many cups of rice per person.
It's probably like a quarter cup, like uncooked.
I'm surprised they were using imperial units.
They were saying 1 cup for 2 people, but then they cooked 10 cups of rice. It was crazy.
Well, I don't know if it is imperial units. They just had a cup. Like, they
Hmm.
translated
Yeah,
it
that's
to a
true.
cup. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that was a cup.
Something else about the kitchen, just to bring up, is they make a big deal on this show about like trekking down the beach to get water, but then there is running water in the kitchen.
Yeah, they made it
Yeah, for, like-
seem like they had running water for a limited amount of time. But it was unclear.
Yeah, I want more of the rules about how much water they have, like what the situation is, what the spices are. I just had a lot of questions about how the kitchen works. Where is the food coming from? Like, what's happening?
It made no sense.
You're thinking this too hard. This is a dating show, guys. This is not a survival show. This is like, okay, we're going to make you rough it a little bit. We're going to make you cook dinner at least first day so that you guys can like have something to do. Like, this is there's no survival aspects really here.
I mean, they could have it like dating naked and afraid.
I mean, they could. That's just not the show. The show is them trying to like force them to go to paradise. That's got to be bad enough that they want to go. It doesn't have to be like Survivor or like Alone. Like they're just.
This is the Inferno, though. Like, this could really divulge pretty quickly. 8 days is a long time to just like go into mass hysteria.
I mean, if they don't give them more food tomorrow, then we'll be talking like, "Hey, you want to go? Let's go. Let's get some food." You know, it's only going to take a day for that thing to happen.
Exactly.
So do we think that one guy who jumped up and was like really helpful on the dinner, like is he like some kind of chef or cook in real life? Because it seemed like he really got in there and knew what was happening.
They said like in his walk-in that like he was a really good cook, and that's what he wanted to make like Inferno more of a paradise because he knows how to cook. So my bet is that he is in some way, but and he crushed it.
Quick,
He could just be a damn good home cook.
Should we take a quick detour? I feel like there was a lot of good intros and one-liners from that we didn't really cover.
We went past that. You had your time.
No,
Can't go backwards.
We can
Chris,
go backwards.
Chris, it's the island. We have to go back.
I
Noah,
think that
take it
guy
away.
I bet you
Yes.
that guy's a TikTok chef. Like he's just
Uh,
making cool things on the TikToks and Facebooks.
could be.
He's an influencer chef.
They're gonna miss him if he goes to Paradise, because without that guy, we don't know if anyone could cook.
Oh, they're bones.
He's not allowed to go.
Noah, tell us about
But
the
yeah.
entrance. What did we miss?
All right. Did anyone catch the I like cat face types?
Yes. What is
Yeah,
that?
what is that?
I have no idea what that means.
That's
Like,
an internet
clear.
corner, Noah.
Who said
Unclear.
Like little nose, like whiskers.
And,
Like,
It was-
Noah, if you go search for that, just make sure to turn safe search off.
Yeah. One of you guys are going to help me. I'm on my work computer.
Oh, okay. I googled it. It's girls who look like Doja Cat.
Is it really?
Seriously?
No, that's a joke.
Oh. I was like,
He's starting memes on our podcast right now.
But it is strictly a Korea thing, apparently.
Hmm.
I mean,
Do you
you
think
talked a bit
any-
about. Oh, you go, Yamba.
Sharp
Well, I
and
was
edgy
gonna-
lines on their face.
Hmm. I was gonna ask Noah, do you think anyone on the pod, who do you think is the most cat face?
I'm going to go with you right now because I think cats are more feminine in general, and I'm pretty sure you're the only female on right now.
He's pretty sure.
Pretty
Pretty
sure.
sure.
Dogs are males, cats are females. We all know this. It's science.
That's true.
it's true. It's very true. All dogs are he's.
I
What
got
else you got,
two.
Noah?
Yeah, so from Gia, we talked about if there's something I want, I have to have it. I have to have it. If it's something I want to have, I have to have it. That was what we talked about her. Jinte has two of them that are great. I am sexy, so I want a sexy woman.
Oh yeah.
Flat out. And then, facial hair grows at different speeds, so I try to keep them at the same length.
That was so good.
That's just
Yeah.
a
Like,
wild
yes,
thing.
you have a trimmer. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a wild thing to do, Brian. It's
Like,
an interesting. It's a
well,
weird thing to say.
Yeah,
but,
weird thing to say. Yeah, like just
like just you got to trim every day or every other day. That's all that means.
Did they let him bring his trimmer on the island?
Oh, 100%. All your
Well,
stuff
no,
is
they
there.
said
Didn't you see
Chris,
all the
they
people
said
and everyone
no-
in makeup again? New clothes.
they said no electronics.
Hmm.
Yeah. that
Does he have
just
like
means
a
they don't have their
cranked
phone.
trimmer?
They just don't have their phones. There's no way you're going on the show and not letting people blow dry their hair or straighten their hair. It's all about how hot these people are.
no.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get any of that right now. You got to go to paradise for that shit.
I want them to have
You're
to
wrong.
craft a trimmer
Absolutely
out of
wrong.
materials.
This is not Survivor. This is check out these hot people on this island. They will most certainly have all this stuff to make themselves hot.
I know, but at the same time, like, why do they bother with that? Just,
What? What do you
But
mean? What do you mean? Why are they bothered with it?
no, I mean, like, why bother like just putting like no electronics or like anything else like
Because
that?
no one has their phones. They're implying that no one has their phones. Like
No.
that's what they're saying. There's no TVs. There's no phones. All you're here to do is bang. So look as hot as possible. So bring your straighteners.
I don't
and
think
your
they're
hair blows.
banging. I don't think there's banging.
I mean, you
Not
might be
yet.
right. I don't know what Koreans do, but if this was an American show, there'd be bang.
Do you-
American.
That's what Michigan dating shows are all about.
When they go to Paradise and they're in the beautiful bed by the pool,
I think there's going to be some banging on the show. It won't happen early on, but by the end, I think there's going to be some banging.
I don't know.
Harrison
I think,
is shaking his head.
I disagree. I just think that they're taking it a slower pace than is necessary to be banging within 8 days.
we're only on day one.
You want to place some bets on it?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. All right, Noah. So if somebody bangs, you have to do a TikTok on our TikTok channel. And if they don't bang, I have to do TikTok.
Well, I want to. You've been doing the TikToks, so
Well,
can
I mean like a TikTok dance or something.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can I say I want to add on to that? And the loser also has to do a airplane-sized bottle of Fireball on the TikTok as well.
Before the TikTok. I don't know if you could do that on TikTok. How many people do you see drinking on TikTok?
I don't know. They just drink Bang energy drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before
probably
the
right.
TikTok.
Yeah, you're right. Cool. Yeah, game on.
All right. Is there? I guess we can get to the people getting postcards, right?
Well,
I got one
so
thing that-
how do they announce that this is happening? Oh, wait, Noah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got one thing about the meal. Dating shows, reality shows in general, notorious for alcohol. Zero alcohol going on over here, which is shocking, especially when there's like a meal that's like the main point of the episode.
And also, like, Korea's pretty alcohol friendly.
I feel like they found a bar in their like exploration of the island, didn't they?
No, they thought there was going to be alcohol and it was water.
Oh, okay.
It's cafe.
Or it was just like giant tub where they actually put water in. Not actually, there was no water in it.
Yeah, so probably like they would be drinking it if they had it.
In paradise, that's where you get drunk.
Yeah, I was just surprised.
Although, yeah, I mean, you probably want some alcohol to loosen some lips, you know?
Yeah,
literally.
It's like the drama.
Maybe they don't want that kind of drama, though. I feel like that drama is very Michigan.
They definitely showcased some of that drama in the season on.
Did they?
There was like one where like they seemed to be in the water fighting.
Yeah, the season on was in the beginning of the episode, and I don't remember a single thing.
That's good. It just got replaced with all the intros and then the awesome theme song.
The theme song. Yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing is the 3 people walk to get water, and so there's 2 buckets and like this thing, like a stick, I guess, on a backpack, and they just had one guy put 2 things of water on his back with this like backpack thing instead of the other 2 people helping. So one person out of 3 took 2 giant tubs of water back.
It made sense. He got to use his back and his legs. Like
he got to show off how fucking veiny he was.
Oh yeah, this dude is definitely in your 3-hour club, right?
Yeah, probably 4. And again, those. But it was the smart way to carry it back. But like, did they make that, or did they like have more of those? Because that's just a weird thing. Like 3 people and then like one person comes back with water.
I think that was there, dude. They didn't have a backpack water.
Yeah.
They didn't make that.
No.
Again, this is not
There's a-
Survivor. This isn't a loan where you have 10 items you bring with you. This is there's stuff here.
Of the props on the islands, the one that comes up most consistently is barrels. There's a ton of barrels on this island.
Yeah, we got a lot of barrels.
Also, we have to talk about something that I thought was going to be a main plot point on this episode and was never addressed. There is like a whole plane wreck, like right next to like where they are on the island. And I thought there was going to be some kind of like fun thing for them to discover in there, or like when they like search the island, they were going to find something in it. But it seems to be nothing. But it's like this full on like display they've made for them.
Yeah, this is where they filmed Lost, didn't you know? That's where the plane crashed.
Is it because they want us to think that these people like crashed on this island together?
It's probably just a prop from another thing filmed on this island. Like,
Well, it annoys me. I want it to be important. It seems like
they might, maybe day 4 on the island, they have to like do some weird thing in the weird prop.
If somebody bangs in the plane, Noah has to do 2 shots.
Yeah, what are you doing? You're not even up in the escapes. You're not joining the bet. You're just gonna make Noah do 2 shots?
Yes.
I mean, the implied counter bet is no plane banging. Brian does 2 shots.
This is exactly why
Yes.
I want to join it, because I know that like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so there is no, Anyway, Max, what did you say about the introduction to these postcards?
Yeah, so, they're hanging out in their rooms, they're talking about who they like, and then suddenly the Squid Games lady gets on the horn and is like, yo, you gotta send a love letter to your person. And this lady sounds exactly like the Hunger Games, Squid Games lady. Same cadence, ends every sentence with "씁니다." Yeah.
It was very true. I was also like thinking about Squid Games a lot during this.
Yeah, and then a couple people got no letters. Some people got 2 letters. We talked about the person that got 3 letters.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody got a letter that said Oppo.
Hyung Jun got an Oppa from Gia.
Max, can you tell us what Oppa means?
Yeah, so when Gia and the other 2 dudes go to get water, she says that her type is a boyfriend/dad. Oppa is basically daddy, which apparently has made the cultural leap.
Yeah. Urban Dictionary said it was like usually used for an older like brother or older male person, and then it can be used flirtatiously. And I was like, oh, it's a weird double meaning there. But
this really plays into like the concerns that Annabeth had, where there's some dynamics here.
Some weird
she wanted
here. Why
she
can't
wanted somebody older.
Well, I mean, really, she cares about the profession. She was very clear that she wants someone who can provide for her.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
she wants a sugar daddy, like very clearly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's wearing that Chanel shirt. Like, there's, if you can't afford a Chanel shirt, get out of here.
Did you see the matching flip flops she had? Very good.
No.
It was very good.
And belt.
Flip flops, my kinds.
And belt. That's where they make their money. The flip flops and the belt. The upcharge on that's got to be like 700%, whatever.
That's where they make the money.
Yeah.
We're talking about Chanel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flip flops are $700.
Something like that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It depends. Maybe 500.
I mean, that's what happened. What was there's a movie out this year on Gucci, and like at some point they stopped selling like those knickknacks, that kind of stuff, and they lost a ton of money.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because they were making a ton of money selling like a Gucci like coffee mug for like I don't know, like $100 that cost them like $1 or like less, like 25 cents to make. All it said was Gucci on it. It wasn't like fancy.
Wait, did you see the House of Gucci? You watch a movie?
Yeah, I did.
That's cool.
We can talk about it in the shoutouts if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I think that's the only notes I have about this, like this end section.
Yeah.
Can you spoil who got the letters next episode?
Yeah, we did. It was Gia.
For Gia.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm butchering names. I'm sorry. Yeah. They went by really quick in the show, so I didn't really get the right intonations.
Oh, I had to keep pausing.
I didn't really get the right intonations from the show. Yeah, that's it. Should we get to some questions? Let's see. We can do who's the worst human being, but I don't know if there's anyone that really qualifies. Brian, do you have a?
I'm trying to think of anybody, and there's not really. Like,
I got one.
Yeah.
We talked about Kim Jong Un on this podcast. So I'll nominate him.
Okay. All right. We're just gonna move on. There's no host, so there's nothing to talk about the host.
Well, we got the podcast host.
There's so many hosts.
Oh, the 4 podcast. They mean nothing. Like, I don't even remember they're in the show. They're kind of a big distraction from the show. At least so far.
I wonder if they're like common among like other reality shows or anything like that. But we need to do a little research.
It's fine. Downgrade? I don't know.
What was that, Annabeth?
They didn't have that chemistry like that the Terrace House hosts have. Like, they don't like make fun of each other, and they're not very like big personalities, and they don't get into like weird tangent conversations about what's happening. Like, it doesn't really explain anything, and it doesn't add anything.
They did that one in this episode. I still think that future episodes they're gonna get into it, but they were not very mean. They were encouraging and like trying to see like who's gonna hook up, basically.
They were just trying to guess what was gonna happen next, and I was like, well, just show me what's happening next. Like, I don't need you to guess. And there's just nothing happens this episode. So what do they have to talk about?
Yeah, I can't believe these podcast people were trying to guess what's going to happen next. Anyway, that leads us to our next question. Who's going to hook up next?
That's a good point. But I think Jihao's gonna hook up next. I don't know with who though. Probably who did she give the Oppa note to? Who had the Oppa note?
Hyungjun?
Yeah,
Mr. Vanes.
those two. They're gonna hook up.
I
I
can see
really
it.
don't think so.
I mean, there's only two people that I know like each other.
I feel like if somebody was going to hook up, we would have seen it on this time coming up this season.
They might be too cautious to show it on the actual show.
Maybe I would appreciate that actually.
Who knows? Would this show be better as a Quibi?
I have no idea. I thought it ran a little long, but I'm not sure Quibi is the right format.
I think
they
you
could-
can. Oh, what's up, Ryan?
No, they could trim it down. I don't think they can get it into 5 minutes. Maybe the intros.
I think they can do it. I think you quibitize it. Like the beginning's a little bit hard, but then the paradise sessions, right? Like I think you can quib it.
I just don't think that you can't. Like, unless when I say Quibi it, like quibitize, you can't like have part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, because it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't flow very well as a Quibi. It has to be like one and done, and this wouldn't work as a one and done.
You don't think that like different sections of this could just be like oh hey, they cooked something. Like,
No, I don't.
I mean,
it
like,
works.
well, I guess just in general for other shows.
Yeah, Quibi failed because they were like, let's make a movie and split it into 10 segments.
That's why Quibi failed.
Yeah, that's why. Quibi
Okay.
You heard it from my mouth. That's that's why. Let's see. Production schedule. So they said they're on the show for 9 days. Do they have to quarantine before and after this? Is this like a real month
Absolutely.
commitment? Or I guess it's only before they have to quarantine. So it's like a 14-day plus 9-day commitment. Seems kind of light. Seems like, but
For a month, I mean, then you're just going to edit the hell out of it.
I mean, they did make 8 episodes out of 9 days. That's impressive.
Yeah, lots going to happen.
What do you love about this show? Annabeth, what do you love about this show?
I loved watching them make food together and like seeing what cool Korean food like they thought of. I thought that was really cool, actually.
Harrison, what do you love about this show?
I think it's similar to kind of what I like about Terrace House and I Know Where Love Wagon, just like seeing how people in different cultures interact and flirt and date, and it's just interesting to see the differences. I think.
Noah, what do you love about the show?
I like anything you get to see a little bit of a different culture. So yeah, like them whipping up the food, like a lot of the mannerisms they have. I like that I got to learn that charm is kind of like what you'd say. Yeah, that's what I like.
Max?
Yeah, Harrison really hit it on the nail for me. Just I love that this reminds me of Terrace House a lot. I love seeing those weird, different cultural, differences. One thing I hate is that this show and our discussion of it reminded me that on Terrace House there was a relationship between an 18-year-old and a 30-year-old.
Ryan, what do you love about this show?
I actually kind of like the host, and I'm excited to see what's going to come out of this. I really like the dynamic in these Korean reality shows, and it gives me something else to focus on.
I like the anticipation here. I think that there's like a lot of like, will they get together? Will they not get together? What happens in paradise? They did a good job of teeing that up to get me to watch another episode or two. I think that they did a great job with that. The cultural impacts are great, but you guys already said that, so we'll leave it there. Let's do our favorite question. Drinking rules. Brian, what kind of drinking rules you got?
I'll leave some of the other ones for later. Drink every time you see the podcast hosts.
Cool. That's a good one. Max, what do you got for me?
Every time somebody says the word cute or sexy, take a shot.
Ugh.
Noah, what do you got for me?
Every time someone covers their mouth because they're eating or laughing, take a drink.
Annabeth?
Every time you see a barrel. Or every time you see my favorite thing, the plane crash.
Harrison?
Drink every time somebody talks about the temperature. It's way too hot.
Drink every time there's a flirtation, and drink a lot for any time there's like a kiss or anything past a kiss. Brian, do you have another one?
I think pour one out for people who get left behind when people go to paradise.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's good.
Pour one out for everybody who gets 0 letters.
I was just about to say, I'm surprised no one did a letter drinking thing.
Well, is the letter thing going to be consistent? I don't know.
I think you should do, before the letter ceremony, you pick a person, and however many letters they get, that's how many shots you have to do.
Ooh, yeah.
Or how many shots you get to give out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to pick right. You can pick easily wrong. Big shirt guy, just pick him. Like,
Shirt guy.
I don't know his name. Max, do you have another one?
No, I think I'm good.
I thought you kind of raised your hand. Anyway, let's do our last and actual favorite question. We do a stack ranking system between top, middle, bottom, third, compared to other reality shows. Max, what's your ranking?
I'm going to say this is middle third, top of the... top of the middle. I could be proven wrong with future episodes. I might give episode 2 a shot. Didn't really blow me away or anything, but it was pleasant to watch, but it did drag a bit.
Noah, what do you got for me?
This show was executed very well. We haven't talked about that much. Like, I really don't like these types of reality shows. But I thought it moved along well. The cinematography was good. The producers, I think, set up like a good set for things to move along without alcohol, without silly drama. So I think they get a lot of credit for that. But for those reasons, like, it's never going to get in the top for me. Like, I just don't like it. So solid middle show. Middle. But a lot of shout outs to the crew that made this happen.
I mean, it's no Selling Sunset. So
No Selling Sunset.
Annabeth, what's your ranking?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the edge between the middle and the top, but I do want to watch another episode, so I think I'm going to do bottom of the top. But I think it's interesting. I think it's really different than other shows I've seen. It's this weird like Terrace House Bachelor in Paradise combo. And I'm just kind of curious like what they're going to do with it. So bottom of the top.
Harrison, what do you got for me?
It's going to be a middle third show for me for sure. I think that some of the similarities to Terrace House and Inori kind of make me want to at least check out another one and see sort of where it goes, but it didn't really kind of get its hooks in me the same way that those other ones did necessarily. It wasn't just enough. I think the people weren't interesting enough to latch onto. The situation wasn't quite interesting enough to latch onto. But I'll probably watch one more.
Brian, what do you got for me?
I'm in a similar boat as Annabeth, and I think I'm going to put it in the bottom to top. I'm really intrigued by this show, and I'm going to watch another episode. We'll see if my rating changes next week, though.
I'm also going to put it in the middle. I think, surprisingly, because I think this format is not my favorite either, and it was really slow. Like, I think that they could cut, 20 minutes from that episode and be better off. Like, the intros are just too long, but it was interesting. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, but I wasn't bored. and like the fact that it's like not in English, and I might consider watching another episode. That's saying a lot. So we're gonna put it in the middle. And I guess one last thing before we get to shout outs. Max, you wanted to point something out?
Yes, we couldn't come up with the worst person on the show, and I do have one. I want to say it was, oh god, I wish I had his name. Choi Si-hun said,
boxy
I
shirt
like,
and sweater vest.
yeah, who's kind of been our punching bag the whole time. Also made some throwaway comment like, I like people who have light skin, and don't say that.
Yeah, there you go. That's our worst person. Put it in the books. Let's do some shout outs. So Noah wanted to know about House of Gucci. I thought it was fine. It was a little too long. If you like shots of Gucci handbags and fancy cars, you'd love it. Other than that, might be a good plane fare. If people go on planes anymore, I don't really know. But my real shout out is Peacemaker.
Yep.
I watched 2 episodes of that yesterday. Very good. It's funny, surprisingly funny. Some good action. Watch that. Annabeth, you got a shout out this week?
We've been watching the current season of Amazing Race, which is really good and also really interesting because they filmed 3 episodes in February 2020, and then they had to stop for 18 months, and then they bring everybody back and restart the race. So it's interesting to see it go from pre-COVID to COVID, and it's fun to watch people travel the world again.
Did they bring people back that got kicked off the show in the first 3 episodes, or are they just permanently gone?
Well, so I mean, slight spoiler, but so the people get kicked off the show in the first 3 episodes. 18 months later, they can't get all the people back on the show who were at that point, so they do resurrect some teams to fill in the new spots.
Resurrect. It's a good verb. Harrison, is that your shout out as well?
Yeah, definitely Amazing Race. Super interesting this season for sure. They make them drive themselves a lot more often, so there's not a lot of taxi cabs in the mix, in the pandemic, and they're also chartering planes for them apparently. So they're all a whole different situation, but it's just cool to see people doing some stuff.
Bye, Max. Oh, Noah, you have a shout out?
Nothing new. So for the listeners who've been listening, sorry to not entertain you. But I'm just going to throw it out again to Nathan Fielder. Nathan For You is just such a gem. Thoroughly enjoying my rewatch. I'm almost at the end of season 2.
Brian, you have any shout outs this week?
Yeah, I've been getting more into How I Met Your Father. For being a spinoff, it's relatable and much better done than How I Met Your Mother.
Wow.
How I Met Your Dad, the failed pilot.
That was a thing?
Yeah. It was a failed pilot. No one saw it.
Oh, okay. I was going to go find it if it was.
I don't know. Maybe failed pilots are surprisingly, they keep those pretty tight lipped. That's
Brian, I'm shocked. Usually a show named like that, I'd just be no way this is going to be good. In the trash.
I definitely thought that.
Yeah.
But then I read a couple articles that said hey, this is better than I expected. So I checked that out and I'm like, okay, you got my attention for my background attention for 22 minutes, and it's a little bit humorous.
Seems like a background show for sure.
Yeah. And that's fine. For those typical comedies, great.
Max, you have a shout out this week?
Shout out. Let's see. Media I've consumed this week is mostly the Halo Infinite campaign. It's good.
There you go. Get ready for that Halo TV show.
No, veto.
I want to throw one more out in the context of the show we watched today. If you're kind of into this show, I would say go and watch I Know Where You Love Wagon, African Journey. Also on Netflix. It is incredible.
I really
should finish that up.
It's so good.
Yeah. Watch it, listen to our podcast about it. It's amazing.
All right. Well, that's it for us this week. Please rate us on iTunes and Spotify. You can find us on Twitter @WhoPutThisOn. Please vote in our poll. You can find us on TikTok at Who Put This On Podcast. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On, and email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next time. Are you ready for Joe Millionaire, though?
Well, be good.
When are we doing Joe Millionaire?
Next week. Oh, I should put that as our outro or something. Forgot to mention we're doing Joe Millionaire.
Yeah.
Do we do the new season or the first? We do the new season, right?
It has to be new.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. Well, two things. One, we fucked up again because in January we didn't tee up like influencer month, and we also I don't think we teed up it's love month.